Hello and welcome back to another GeoGuessr video, where today I've got something a bit special for you. I actually believe I either had a dream about this or I just thought of it yesterday while going to sleep, but I just had this random thought where I was like, oh, I wonder surely it would be a great video and very fun to watch, but I wonder how many no-move duels would it take for me to beat like one of the best GeoGuessr players. And so I thought I'm going through with it. Um, so yeah, I today while at work, I asked Mu if he's up for doing this today spontaneously because I'm already going to the Coupe de France in Rennes in a couple of days. Probably by the time you see this, I'm already there. And he was down. So we will be playing no move duels on a pro world for as long as it takes until I manage to pull out a win. Now, for those of you who don't know Moo is quite good. Moo's quite good at the game. He was number 1 in the duels ranking at some point. I think currently he might be like number 2 or number 3. I'm gonna have to click on see results. Yes, okay. And he will also be playing in the World Championship in about a month in Copenhagen. And also, for long-time viewers of my channel, as you'll probably be aware, he's one of my teammates and just an all-around lovely person. So, he is currently... Let me drop down to number 3. Okay. So yeah, we'll see however long it takes me. We're going to do the World Cup format, except for with no round limit, which I don't think we would need anyway, because let's be real, I think regularly it's not going to end on round limit with me playing, but, you know, L round limit, we're removing it anyway, whatever. And yeah, we're going to see how long it takes. I feel like, on average, it might take a while, but, you know, if I get really lucky, it could be over after one game. You're going to see the video length right now. It probably isn't going to be over after one game. But yeah, I just hope you're going to have a fun time watching it. And I will just let you get straight into the video. I don't know, like, what... You're probably better at like that, but what would be a good map to play this on? Like, what's... I only know
Pro
good
World.
moving maps. Okay, Pro World. That
Probably
sounds
Pro
good.
World is chilled for general purpose NM
All
stuff.
right, we'll do that then, and we'll do like general World Cup format, except we'll remove the round limit. I don't think we're gonna
Okay,
need to remove that,
we'll
but
see. We'll see.
I mean, maybe we'll just get some seeds where it's like, okay, this is obvious, like 10 times in a row, and then, you know, but
I mean, like, listen, there's some hard rounds with Pro World. You know, it's gonna. I don't think you're like. There's gonna be a Russia where I miss a 50-50 and you're like in the middle of the two locations and you win on like 4x. It's. I don't
it
think it's
could
gonna
be.
take that long,
Yeah,
but
I
we'll
feel
see.
like realistically for me, like if we were to do this like 100 times, for example, I think the average amount of duels it would take me to beat you is somewhere between like 10 to 20, like maybe 15 duels on
Yeah,
average.
that might be accurate. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but it can all it can always happen that we just do this now at like the first duel. It just somehow randomly, like, we get
Yeah, if
just
that
10
happens,
locations I know.
if that happens, this video is not going out, so it's okay.
uh,
Uh,
you'll be like, you can't publicize this.
yeah, I'm gonna copyright claim you.
And do you wanna, like, I don't know, do you wanna mute during games or do you wanna just yap between? Because I feel like,
I mean, I'm for a video. It's probably better if
yeah,
I mute and you give your thoughts on the round or
yeah,
whatever.
it's probably better. Okay. And
But
then
I
we'll
mean, it's
just, yeah, we'll do that. And then
okay.
we can just talk about like
Can we
shortly
review it
about
at the end?
the
Yeah.
duel at the end. Yeah. Then I guess good luck. I don't think you're gonna need it,
Good luck.
but yeah.
Good luck.
See you in a bit. All right. We're gonna start with the first duel. Let's see. I talked to him earlier. I said it's probably gonna take me like 10 to 20 duels on average to win one. I also haven't played any GeoGuessr today yet, so this is interesting. I think this is just Arch, and it kind of looks Northern-ish. I don't know if it's like Chaco Nor. Actually, probably. Okay, it was much further south. Okay. He did also have a pretty northern feeling though, so I will happily take that, I guess. Okay, Indo. This is... what are these? Is it even Indo for sure? Probably... Do I go... Ugh. No, I don't. Yeah, Sula makes a lot of sense. I just didn't really think about that. Okay. I mean, it's Central European. It's interesting. I could potentially see this being Luxembourg or something like that. Kind of gives me that vibe. I don't really... This is some interesting poles though. Like, they're quite thick for some reason. I could probably see... I mean, this could easily be something like France as well. What's the copyright? 24. I think it could be Luxembourg. It's just a vibe I got. I could see this being Germany as well. Although, wasn't it like Germany has mostly got 23? I don't know. I like Luxembourg for some reason. So... we'll see where it goes. There's Czechia. Okay. Is that it? It isn't. Alright. GG's.
GG.
I didn't get too rounded.
That's something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I played terribly. It's just, I don't know. I'm not good at Indo, and the last one, yeah.
There's some pretty niche stuff going on there, like the car in Czechia is useful. I wasn't 100% sure, but that's there for me. And yeah, Indo's a pretty niche meta as well. So yeah, the Arjan was hard, but
yeah, I thought
like,
for sure that it was more north than it actually ended up being. I mean, I did commit
yeah,
quite far north.
there are a lot of rounds like near the Parana River basin that like they're not agriculturally developed at all, and so it makes it look a lot more north.
Yeah.
We're not seeing any farmland, but it's because we're literally like inside the river basin. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why. Yeah.
Was there anything about the poles in the Indo round that could have been helpful?
Yes, so the thick support in the center of like the supports, like the thick extra bar, is found in northern Sulawesi. So
okay.
North Sula, Gorontalo, and Central Sula, and then there's another meta that helps me get Bangai Islands there. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought like I looked at the pole and like the support bar, and I was like, I definitely think this is useful, but I don't remember what it is exactly. But
yeah,
okay.
So it's probably one of the most useful Indo pole metas because it's on almost all the poles in those states that I named.
Yeah,
it's very, very important.
It's also like, just very outside. Like, if you're middle hedging, you're losing a lot of points on that. So I guess in that way, it's also quite useful.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's try again then.
We'll have another go. Yeah.
Good luck. All right. Second time's the charm. I wonder if I'm going to be here for like 2 hours. Moo's just going to fall asleep at some point. Okay, India. This kind of... Okay, it's Gujarat. It's quite interesting. Wait, there's a huge city down to the southeast. Yeah, let's go here. Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, it certainly wasn't a huge city, but okay. I mean, it makes... I don't know why. I guess I went towards the lake, but it was very wet, so I guess coastal also makes a lot of sense for that. Gen 2 European roulette. Is it Greece? That was my first thought. It could be Italy. It's not... I don't actually know. Does Turkey have Gen 2? 2025 copyright. Yeah, nice. I know Greece and Italy certainly do. I kind of want to go like here even. I don't know. It was up there. Damn it. Okay. That's fine though. I got the country. That's something, at least. Is this Italy now? That kind of reminds me of Italy. I'm not sure though, like the house, like everything here reminds me of Italy. But I guess that is a short plate. I just can't really, like, something about this town entrance sign screams recognition, but I can't 100% place it. It was north, yeah. Okay, that does make sense. There was something about it that felt just very dry, but I guess it was just like the height of summer, so it's gonna be dry everywhere in Italy. Okay, Ghana. Interesting. It's quite straight of a road. This is not a straight road. What does it feel like? Ah! I keep doing terrible region guesses. South Korea. Can I read a phone code? I don't think I can on that. I'm not even sure if there would be any. I don't know pull plates. I think I've heard someone say pull plates are useful in South Korea. I don't know how much use there actually is in them. I mean, it's South Korea. Okay. Ohang. It's like not a lot of coverage there, so it's interesting. Okay, well, if that side's not gonna load. This is interesting. What am I looking at? I don't know these bollards. It feels like my first impression was Mexico. These poles are kind of weird. Is it ever like Peru or something like that? I mean, the sun is quite clearly south. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It kind of gives me a vibe of somewhere like here. All the way north. Okay. Okay. GG's.
Yeah.
Got a little bit further. Made some pretty terrible region guesses, but I got all the countries right.
Well, that's something, yeah. Yeah, I made some big blunders in last year, and so yeah, you could
Hmm.
have capitalized for sure, but they were also quite hard. This Tijuana round, I really trolled. I got
Yeah.
confused with something in the round, but still bad guess for me.
Yeah, I was confused by that round. I didn't really know how to place it really. Um like I looked at it, I was
Yeah.
reasonably sure that it was Mexico. Um I didn't actually like know anything that would tell me for sure, but it just felt like Mexico. But I don't know, I feel like I'd seen similar-ish landscapes near Mexico City, but then again Mexico City just looks like everything too. So, um
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely a lot of traits that looked more northern, but I got myself out of Tijuana somehow.
hmm,
um, because of a few like little landscape traits, but definitely like the open, really open farmland
I guess
vibe
the
is more there.
like if it was Mexico City, there would never like the mountains would never be so like devoid of any vegetation, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like it looks a lot closer to the United States,
Mm,
and so just the general like climate you can get in that way. Um, the other thing that's worth noting is that there's like a we have like a dark metal crucifix pole, or sorry, a dark wood crucifix pole down the road
hmm.
northwest, and that is a very northwestern. So
Okay.
uh, yeah,
Yeah, I could tell that it was like not a normal, octagonal Mexican pole, but
yeah,
um
they look. I mean, they're very common in Baja
okay.
to see dark wooden poles like this, but yeah, it
Okay.
was a tricky one to commit to. So I didn't
Yeah.
really.
That's like if you commit to all that and then I go like, I don't know, Guanajuato or something and it just happens to be there, then you probably lose on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would never go south of Chihuahua on this. I think just because of like we said,
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
climate. The bigger blunder for me was probably like South Korea. Oh man, I made such a bad mistake there.
Mm,
Uh, going north, it's yeah. I thought that the pole plate coordinates didn't work for Pohang, which is usually where you
hmm.
find this car with like the little uh thingy on the front
Ah,
of it.
okay.
Like you find it either in Pohang or where I am. But I
Ah,
thought the
okay.
plate coordinates were wrong for Pohang, so I don't know. I must have miscalculated. Maybe I
Mm.
misread it. Yeah, it's a little rough.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I've heard people say that like you can use pole plates in South Korea before, but it's like,
yeah, they are
I've
actually quite useful. But
yeah.
it's first of all, there's not really a good guide on it, so I had to sort of manually
Mm,
learn it myself, which was a little hard.
yeah.
But the other thing about it is like oftentimes you just can't really see them. So a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
people who are
yeah.
only playing NM will not really go for it, but
Mm.
I think it's good.
It's
Uh,
also like
I mean,
usually in
practice again, but
if you do play it moving, like usually you'll find better information.
yeah.
Um so
Well, I
yeah.
mean, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily because all of the information that you find in moving is usually general. Like
Mm.
you find an area code, right? It only gives you the state. Whereas like if you're precise enough with pull plates, they give you like the town and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah,
But
that's true.
you just have to
Yeah.
you just have to have the grid well mapped out in your head,
Yeah.
which is not easy, evidently. But yeah,
Yeah. Uh
maybe something I need to practice again. But yeah, it is useful though.
yeah, yeah. It's always good, I guess, to have something to go for in South Korea because I feel like there's
Yeah,
not a lot
absolutely.
else.
There was a good guide that was published recently that has a lot of new metas, but I mean, this one to me is still very worth the time.
Mm,
So yeah,
yeah. I know, like the other rounds. I mean, I initially wanted to go more north in Greece, but I don't know. And Italy, I guess, like afterwards, I just thought it's probably just looks fairly dry because it's like the height of summer, so it's like dry everywhere in Italy. Um, but
yeah. I
kind
mean, it
of,
was really the
yeah,
size of the mountains for me in Italy. It kind of
yeah.
has to be that Central Valley.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean that's a very common thing that a lot of people do is like you conflate the season with the climate,
yeah, yeah,
and dry season makes you go closer to the equator for no real good reason, right?
yep,
It's a very common thing that a lot of people do.
yeah. It's
It's
definitely
important
true.
to
Yeah.
avoid that. Yeah.
Mm. All right, try
All
again
right,
then.
let's do it. Good
All right,
luck.
good luck. Okay, I mean, all of this so far is not yet embarrassing. It'll be embarrassing if I'm still here in 5 hours. But and I have like taken some damage off of him, so could be worse. Wait. I mean, it looks like New Zealand, but it was Tasmania. Yeah, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I couldn't see the bollards, and I guess the poles made more sense for Tasmania, but I'm just yeah. What on earth is that? Wait. No, that can't be a thing like this. This cannot be Canada. I was thinking Mexico or something like that. Not Yucatan, but like Tabasco, maybe. Or Indo. The sun is kind of just whatever. Do I see any poles? I'm still irritated by the car. Well, wait, is it Gen 3 or is it Gen 4? Do we go Indo? I'll stick with it. It was Indo. Okay, well.
GG.
GG. Well, that was just
That was very hard. So don't worry.
I did like I wasn't a 50-50 between Mexico and
Yeah.
Indo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should have gone Indo, but I guess like I wouldn't have known where
Well, I
in
mean,
Indo to go. But
bit of hindsight, but yeah, I mean, it is tricky. Like the main
yeah.
thing to me that sold Indo for me was that we had a lot of teak trees, which
Mm-hmm.
are really common in Indo, especially in like Nusa and Java, and uh, not really such a thing in Mexico. I don't think
Mm.
that they grow wild at all in Mexico. So yeah, I mean, that to me was big tip off. Also looks like black car, which is the standard in Indo. So
Mm.
yeah, that was by far my main thoughts. It's a hard one to reach, I guess. I think Nusa's very gettable here, but I kind of didn't put as much time into that. I just wanted to ensure that I was in Indo,
Yeah.
uh, in the right, yeah, I was in the right country. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the first round I don't know. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't see the bullet. Like I saw the bullets to the north, but I couldn't tell which ones they were. And
that's
I
yeah,
like the poles didn't look New Zealand to me, but my brain was just blanking. I couldn't really
yeah.
think of what else. And
I
Tasmania
mean,
makes a lot of sense, but yeah.
yeah, just this whole landscape is like peak Tasmania, basically.
Yeah.
And the car is really, really like good indicator for Tasmania with an os. So yeah, like
Hmm.
it's like light blue car, but it's like a lighter blue kind of. And then
Okay,
yeah, we
yeah.
have like as Possum Road as well and everything. So I think New Zealand is valid for a few reasons, but like yeah, you just have to look at the overall landscape kind of.
Yeah, wait. I don't see a possum guard.
It's kind of hard to see, but you
Okay, yeah.
can maybe just barely make it out on the one pole.
Okay, yeah. I should probably get it, but yeah, I guess it like my main problems I think for formats like these are just that
Yeah,
I kind of get stuck on my first fall a lot. And
yeah,
another thing is that I sort of have a hard time thinking about places that like for example,
mhm,
if someone like if I was playing 2v2s with anyone or something like that and they told me could this be
yes.
Tasmania, I would look at this and I go, yeah, absolutely, it's Tasmania. Like 100%.
No, no,
But
no.
because
I totally get that.
I just
And
don't think of it.
this is actually a really interesting point of discussion because I've spent a lot of time improving this and working on
Mhm.
this for myself, maybe more so than like a lot of actual like other pros have.
Mhm.
Um, but I think just having a thought process that guides you through all of those options, you never
Mm.
overlook something, is really, really valuable. And so I like have I am always trying to train myself to like not overlook anything
Mm.
and to I mean, because I play the game so much, it's like it's easier for me to build up like kind of tracks of habits to go through
Mm.
when I know I'm in a certain country. Like if I am in Australia and I think it's a certain place, I will always force myself to consider a certain other place that looks similar,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like building those habits builds consistency as well.
Yeah.
It's
So like,
something that's worth like
yeah.
devoting energy towards.
So you'd always, for
That,
example, if like your first impression of where you see is place X, then you'd kind of like always consider, well, could it be like these other
yeah,
places instead? And you kind of just have a
yeah,
routine of,
like having
yeah.
building passive habits like that in your head as you evaluate the rounds is really, really valuable, and
Mm,
it's something that I think helps me a lot with my consistency because I don't know if like against some of the best players in the world, like I don't know if I can necessarily stand up to them on like against someone like Jimmy, for example, I would struggle probably to identify the country as quickly as him
mm,
because he's uh, more experienced in that sort of thing and specifically working on that one thing. But if I am like if my thought process is like developed enough and
mm-hmm.
active, eventually I can hope to consider the right thing, and it will lead to more consistency at least. So it's really
Yeah.
valuable thing to apply on any level, really, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
But it's just habits that you have to build.
that's definitely something I should probably work on because yeah,
Yeah,
I've
it's
got
not hard
problems
to
with
work
it.
on either. You just do
Yeah.
it passively,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
I guess it's kind of like similar thing, for example, would be just sort of like where you're playing moving, like mapping out the path in your head. That's also something that's
Yeah,
not too
for sure.
difficult, but you just have to do it and have to constantly have it on your mind. And then eventually you
For
just
sure.
do it automatically almost.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Making those habits like consistent, and it builds the consistency for your gameplay as well. It's very
Mm.
valuable.
All right. Well, I'll try to keep that in mind then, and we'll try again. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
yeah,
gonna beat me now.
yeah,
You
we'll
good,
see.
good stuff.
Good luck.
Good luck.
All right. Attempt number 4. We'll see if I eventually lose track of where we are. In terms of the attempts, not in terms of where in the world we are. Okay, this looks very Lesotho. And also kind of like here-ish. What about here-ish? Ah, okay. Yeah, there's a couple of places that look similar to that in Lesotho. And yeah, well, down there is one, up there is another. There's a few more. On the left, no front plates. White car. Can't tell anything from that. Mostly wondering if it's Thailand or Indo. I feel like this is not a, The sun is just going down, so that's useless. I mean, I know that like Indo technically has a requirement of having front plates on motorcycles. But I know that that's not always a thing in sort of rural areas. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I hate motorcycles every time. They like these sort of Southeast Asian lack of care about rules in terms of motorcycles and the road just always gets me. This is interesting. What am I looking at? I don't know if these are just like, I mean, I guess we have some there, but it's quite, I don't think it's Romania. Like there's just something about it that doesn't really, it could be Poland. Actually, I'm wondering, do I kind of like that more? It could easily be Hungary. It was okay, sure. It was Poland, but it was all the way over there. Because of course it is, because it's Poland. Fresh bottled milk here. Okay. That license plate is too far away. Interesting pause. It's not really a lot here that I can personally use. Sort of, it's like ever so slightly rolling hills. Kind of makes me, I don't know. I go here-ish. Okay, Maryland. Sure. We've taken some points. I don't remember if these are the ones that are like either Montana, South Dakota, or Wyoming, North Dakota. There's some mountains to the south. It's quite strictly north-south. Kind of almost looks a bit more west. But like, I mean, this doesn't necessarily need to be a grid road, but it just works well for that. Oh, let's go. Okay. I've got a chance. I think I'm fucked. Where is it? This Gen 4. I mean, these are like perpendicular insulators, which would be useful if it's Canada, but I don't know if it's Canada. Wait, is this... Is there any shot this is like PEI? I don't even know if they have perpendicular insulators in PEI. I don't know. It's probably just like... Yeah. Louisiana. Well...
Oh my god, GG.
GG, yeah.
Wow.
I could have... I could have.
That's crazy. Man, alright, yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about this, man.
Yeah, I mean, in the last one, I don't know, I just... Obviously, we had that Canada coaching with Fao recently, so I just, like,
Yes.
I looked at the insulators on the pole, and I was like, they're
Yeah.
perpendicular. I don't even know if they have perpendicular insulators in PEI, but...
They do. I mean,
okay.
yeah, they're also just kind of a thing in the United States, though. Like, you can see them
Yeah.
everywhere in the United States. They're more common in the northeastern United States as well, but you can kind of script that really further when you're trying to get out of Canada. But
Yeah. And then also,
yeah.
like, Fao told me about, told us about the sort of like mode, sort of like road shoulders, I
Oh,
guess. And
yeah.
that as
That is a
well.
good,
And yeah,
that is a good meta, to be fair. Yeah, I get you. But yeah, definitely on this round, the vegetation looks way more southern.
yeah, I like that. That was kind of my
Especially
problem because, like, if I was going US, I was definitely going south on that, which I guess should
yeah.
tell me that it can't be Canada because then it wouldn't look like that.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah,
I would say like yeah, there's lots of southern traits. Like this really tall grass looks a little more
Mm,
tropical to the
it's
northeast.
true,
The
yeah.
field we have some soy. It looks a lot like the fields you see, basically just the entire Missouri Mississippi Delta.
Mm.
There's an invasive vine. I think it's kudzu on this pole to the west, which happens
Ah,
often in the south,
okay.
particularly in like Georgia, but often
Mm.
in other states as well. Yeah, so that one, I don't know. I knew it was the Mississippi, but and I really did think Eastern Louisiana, but I convinced
Mm.
myself to hedge for no reason, which was a little annoying. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I so could have wanted that. Ah,
you really maybe should have won because that
yeah.
was I played very poorly in this game. The South Dakota one, I mean, that was just an impressive guess for me.
Thanks.
I like really that was good. I did consider these roads, but I thought maybe I recognized the ridge south as
Mm.
something. There are some roads in Maximum Montana that look very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should have probably known SD here because it just looks like it looks like the same coverage that's in Wyoming. Like this kind of
Yeah.
max coverage is really common in Wyoming, but obviously it couldn't have been with the bollard.
Mm.
So um, that yeah, and then the round before that, I switched out of Maryland to the Wisconsin.
Ah, that's unfortunate.
It's so stupid of me. I misread something about the rumble strips,
Mm.
uh, but these are like Maryland rumble strips. But I accidentally interpreted them as something you might see in Wisconsin, and I thought the landscape maybe
Mm,
would fit
okay.
there, but
What
it
a,
doesn't. It doesn't make sense.
what
So those are
about it
just very weird.
exactly is like Maryland rumble strips?
Well, they're in pairs of two, and they're slightly wider spaced in between the two individuals than normal.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
It requires a lot of nuance. Like you need to have seen the other strips to know how to use this. But
Yeah.
Wisconsin tends to also uses a similar pairing style, but they're shorter typically, and there's less space in between them.
Shorter
Uh,
as in
like they're
yeah,
less
okay.
long.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
yes, like that.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's the Wisconsin style. I don't know. I just gassed at myself. It was
Mm.
very stupid, but
Yeah, I have a lot of
yeah,
experience in that.
I really got away with that one for sure. Although the Endo guess I was pretty happy with because it's pretty difficult in my opinion.
Yeah, I like the thing is
Not
ever since
Thailand, but Cambo here. I think I could have easily gone Cambo,
well
but the driving side is wrong.
yeah,
So
yeah, the driving side would be wrong. But ever since like I've learned that it's technically like, legally required to have front license plates on motorcycles in Indonesia, um,
yes, yeah.
I kind of keep getting baited by
That is a little unlucky,
the
actually.
Southeast
Yeah,
Asians' lack of care for laws on the road.
yeah. It is actually a little bit unlucky, but uh,
Yeah, like if it's just one, I usually wouldn't really, be like
yeah.
100%, but there's like multiple here that don't have front license plates. So I
I
was
guess
like,
you can kind
hmm,
of make out the plate on the one bike being the plate, the one that's facing right from us to the west. So yeah, I mean,
uh,
could have been doable, but still.
yeah, yeah, I looked at that too. I wasn't sure, like, I guess this is also like me just, I keep doing this all the time, which is where I'm like, I know this car
Yeah,
exists in Indonesia, and I
it
don't
does.
know if it exists in Thailand, so I'm gonna
It
go
does
Thailand for
not.
like it's always like that. Uh,
Yeah, it does not. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think maybe some things about this car make it might rule out Cambo as well, but you can see something like this in Cambo, so that would be the other
Hmm,
option.
yeah.
I was surprised, yeah. Like a lot of elements of the landscape are weird, but there are some Indo clues. Like the fence is pretty Indo. This like horizontal stick fence is like
Hmm,
usually like Western Sumatra, like Bengkulu
mm-hmm.
often has it, or like Nusa Tenggara.
Okay.
You see that sort of fence, but I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't gonna be Nusa, so yeah,
Yeah.
too much oil and everything, and
Mm.
rubber, of course. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
But I mean this
So
gives me hope. There is possibilities.
yeah, that was really some bad blunders for me. So I hope not to recreate it.
The Poland
Obviously,
round was
because
also
I'm
kind
not.
of interesting.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't going south on that, even though there were hills, just because of like the fields and the houses looked way more northern. But
Yeah,
getting west
that's
is
fair.
pretty
I just
tricky.
I wasn't particularly sure it even was Poland.
That's valid, yeah.
Yeah, like I thought it could be sort of like a hilly Hungary, so I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily want to go too far away from that.
That's valid. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, next try
All
then.
right. Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck. All right. Try number 5. Come on. I blundered that. But so did he some of the earlier rounds, so I think it's still fair. Wait, what? What am I about to do? Is this ever like here-ish? It doesn't really work for that. And there's also like nothing south of it. I guess this is too mountainous. I don't even know if it's New Zealand. Like, there's... I don't think it's impossible for it to be South Africa, but... Yeah, I just don't really know where to place it. I guess it could be, like, actually just south... Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot more sense. I kind of... If I'd considered that earlier, maybe that, you know, would have been a better idea. Mexican poles. Interesting landscape. A lot of palms. Where would you go with something like this? Like here-ish? Like something about this doesn't feel Yucatan Peninsula to me. Couldn't tell you what exactly. We'll stay there. Okay, it is Tabasco. I think I'm in the lead for the first time. Wait, is this... Oh god, Is it just Senegal? I actually don't know. This might be Kenya and I might be completely throwing. It's I forgot about the existence of Namibia.
Yep. Yeah, everyone has that at least once, so it's
Yep.
okay.
Whoops.
Not much to say there than it was. It is what it is.
Yeah. This makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I was fairly sure it wasn't Senegal, but I also didn't really know where else it would be.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe kind of reminds me of Kenya.
Yeah, that was my other thought. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. We'll move past that. It happens.
Yeah,
I was also kind of annoyed about my round 1 because I don't know, I should have just not guessed where I guessed because I felt it kind of made a little bit of sense, but yeah, it just didn't work with how it was to the south. So I should have just once I realized it doesn't work, I shouldn't have committed there because yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean that seems logical.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in between where I was in the 5K, but I convinced myself that the one kind of fence we had would not really be around Akura, so it's tricky. Yeah, I'm a little unhappy, but I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's try again.
Yep.
I mean, I am kind of happy that I'm winning some rounds. I'm not.
Yeah, you're
completely...
winning some rounds. I mean,
I'm
kind of it is mostly out hedging, but that's still something. Yeah,
I'm mostly losing because of big blunders, and like,
that's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
I think it was just,
It's just like
yeah,
every once in a while in this map there will just be a tough round that it doesn't have any great
yeah,
clue, and then it can be possible to gain points for sure.
yeah. I just need to like avoid blunders enough to get to rounds like that consistently to have the
Yeah.
opportunity to make use of them, essentially.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I feel like the game before this one may have been that may have been the game.
Are you saying I will never get like that again?
Well, let's just keep going.
Okay. That feels like you're expecting to go on for like 4 more hours, and you just want to get it over with.
I mean, no, I would never. I always have fun with like this. So it is what it is.
All right, let's go then. Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, I can do this. At some point, eventually, maybe. Okay. The question is, would this be... Is this ever like Tarapoto, or is it like down here? Maybe is it here? Kind of feel Tarapoto more. Okay, yeah. Over there. Nueva Vizcaya. Actually, see, I think it's just Quezon, which is interesting. I think Nueva Vizcaya is here somewhere. Oh, yeah, I should probably... Why have I already forgotten? Like, I know... No, this is Nueva Ecija. Where's Nueva Vizcaya? This is like Isabela, so... Okay, it is just there. I'm gonna look at that again. How is... okay. Bro, I hate Arch. This is Gen 3. Kind of a lot of shrubbery, interestingly. It's not a lot in the way of mountains at all. Why would you have more shrubbery? Can't decide between like these. Maybe I want to go like here. There's like mountains here, which is not ideal. Yeah, it was a negro. God damn it. Yeah, no, that was just like, as always, kind of just a stupid decision that made no sense, and that's why I lose a lot of these duels. This is interesting. I don't even think there's coverage where I'm clicking. I mean, like, this is not... Is there even like an insulator on there? I can't even tell. Maybe Do I go over there? I should have gone over there. Ah! Like, that made so much more sense. Why am I not clicking where I think the locations are? Okay. I think I go Bahia on this. I'm not super confident about it being Brazil in the first place. Like, I could potentially see it being Colombia or something like that. But I think I want to go Bahia anyway. Yeah, sure. GG's.
Wow, GG.
There we go.
I don't know.
That was it. Was, as turns out, it was not my last chance at winning a duel.
Oh my
The
god.
interesting one about that duel to me is that I was so mad at myself because I was between like where it was and where I clicked in both the Canada and the Argentina rounds. Like in the Canada one, I was thinking. I mean, I wasn't in Ontario. I was in Quebec, but on just the other side of that border. Um, as like my second option that I just thought about at the end because I saw sort of like the spruce trees. I think they are.
Yeah. I would say yeah, the plate is definitely an Ontario plate in the Canada one.
Yeah, I've never looked at plates in Canada, unfortunately. Apart from
Yeah,
Manitoba. Uh,
yeah, fair enough.
but I also like I generally really struggle telling plates apart because like to me they just I don't know. The color wise it all looks so similar to me. Um but yeah. And yeah, on the
Yeah.
Argentina I was like it felt like there was a lot of shrubbery for like sort of very rural deserty, I guess, landscape like this. But I couldn't really do anything with that. And then like in sort of the I don't know 15 last seconds, I sort of considered okay, there's like zero mountains.
Yeah.
Um and like I zoomed in on Santa Cruz and I was like, well, there's mountains everywhere. So I should click Rio Negro and then I didn't.
Yeah, the flatness and the amount of shrubs definitely good for a nigger. But
Yeah,
yeah.
would Santa Cruz have like significantly less shrubbery?
Yeah, it would be less dense in terms of
Okay.
the shrubbery. It would still be there, but yeah,
Yeah.
not as so much like tightly packed maybe.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then in the last round I was also thinking like it's either like Bahia, I mean I guess it was Pernambuco, but or
Yeah,
Colombia.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just stupid. I misidentified a cactus.
Ah,
And I don't know. I didn't like this is not particularly hard. I just blundered.
yeah, that
I'm
happens.
not at my full like capacity, I guess. But yeah, it's annoying, but fair
Yeah.
enough.
I mean it does mean, the video has a night's length that isn't like 4 hours. Um
That's true, yeah.
And you did hold me off for like, was this the sixth or the seventh one? I
It
think it
was the
was the
sixth one.
sixth. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I lasted longer, but
I mean,
I mean,
if you want to, we can do it again at some point, and you can see if you can hold me off for
oh
longer.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll redeem myself at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't in peak form, so I'll keep.
Yeah, with your Coupe de la Ligue thing, and then I guess you've
Yeah,
been awake for quite a long time today, haven't you?
yeah, I've
Uh,
been playing all day, so I
yeah,
mean, it's a little rough, but
yeah. Just
yeah,
eventually, everyone runs out of steam. And
yeah,
yeah, it's so hard, like so rough as well. I mean, part of the reason why I went for like the World Cup format and not like normal duels format in terms of multipliers is just because it gives me more opportunities to sort of multi-merchant you, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
it just, yeah, it just, otherwise, I think if we played like with normal duels multipliers, this could have gone on for like, I mean, I guess maybe this round would have been enough either way, but I would have been, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just feel like this sort of makes it a little bit easier for me to sort of increase my chances of getting lucky ones. But
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, for sure, that is kind of how the format works.
Yep.
Uh, makes you think about the
Yeah, it
use of
is.
the actual competitions, but it is what
Yeah.
it is.
It is kind of like, I feel like a lot of the sort of GeoGuessr World Championship and, all the surrounding competitions are quite luck based to an extent. Like you can for
Yeah.
sure increase your chances the better you are, but rounds like this can just always happen. And there's like,
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, this
yeah,
round I deserve to lose 10 times
yeah.
over, so it doesn't
But
matter.
yeah, yeah, but there's like rounds that
I know
are
what
like
you
still
mean.
less obvious that can just always happen like that, where like you can play so well for like
Yeah,
7 8 rounds, and then there's just one round where you're like in a 50-50, and just, unfortunately the 50-50 is between two countries on different sides of the planet, and you just lose, even though like,
yeah, it can happen to anyone. So that's how it goes.
yeah, yeah. I feel like the sort of the Foul Clement match up in the wild card kind of went similarly in the two games that Foul won, because like Foul played well and he sort of held on, but it kind of felt like Clement was just running away with it completely, and then Clement just blundered twice essentially to lose those two games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can happen. Yeah.
yep. But I
I
guess,
mean,
you
it is.
always, on the other hand, you always sort of have the chance to come back if you're in a bad position as well. It's I think
It's
it's
true.
definitely good for from like a spectator point, because it keeps things exciting. Um
Yeah,
so whenever
yeah,
like discussions come up about removing round limit and multipliers, I tend to be on the side of course, remove round limit, because like, let's be real, it makes no sense. But
I mean,
I think multipliers are necessary for us from like a spectator point, because if you remove multipliers as well, you have what you got in sort of the normal GeoGuessr tournaments, like the ones they host like every 8 hours or something, where it's just like if you make one bad guess in like Russia, and then you get 6 countries that are absolutely nothing, from the first round that you've just lost, and that's
yeah,
just like, it completely takes away all excitement. So yeah,
yeah. I mean, we got what we got, I guess. But
yeah, it is like
it's not like
from, yeah, from
winning
like
on
a
it.
player perspective, I definitely see why it would, like, why it is frustrating to sort of have a lot of scenarios, I guess, or a lot of instances where like, you've played better, but you still lost.
Yeah, yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, see if it happens. Like at least in formats like outside of the official, there's it's always you can always learn from it. So,
yeah,
but it is a shame to have so much work decided just based on one thing, right? So
yeah.
that
It
sucks.
is. It is really rough. Like, especially, it's interesting to me as well, as like, because I'm technically, or not even technically, I'm absolutely just a spectator in all of these events. But even then, it just like, I guess it depends on the kind of person you are, but like, I personally, like, I feel a lot with, the people playing with all of you, and
Yeah,
it feels so rough when, like, especially things like the wild card and like the open major, when you have people like, essentially, there's, out of those 32 people, there's 30 people who've committed a lot of time and effort into this for like
yeah.
months on end, or even like years, maybe not quite to that intensity, but like very intensive few months at least. And then there's
Well,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it just
for
all
sure.
gets taken away essentially so quickly. And then, I mean, there will be more chances for a lot of them, but it's just like, essentially you play a best of 5 for like 10 minutes, and or like 30 minutes, and then you have to wait another year essentially until you maybe get a chance to make it happen
Exactly.
again.
It is so brutal, like honestly. And I can say this especially, I almost every competition that I've played in this point, like I have basically always been fighting for my life. And
Mm.
it just it's so stressful, and not knowing if your work is going to be rewarded is really
Yeah,
really annoying. Like a lot of the players in the circuit have played in the first World Cup, and then they automatically qualified to the World League
yeah.
just because of their participation. You know,
Mm,
I didn't do well enough in my regional, and so I never got that luxury. I had to qualify online twice just
yeah.
to play in the main events. And even now, it's like playing in the Americas regional. I played for my life in
Mm,
2 games. Like you can easily just like get bad rounds or whatever, and it's like everything is gone. It's
yeah.
just
Or you
it's
just
just brutal.
Yeah, or you
Just
just have
brutal
a
at
bad
times.
day or something like that. It doesn't, I don't know, like
Yeah,
ever so slight things. Like maybe you just ate bad on the day before, like, and you have a stomach ache, and suddenly, like the most
yeah,
random things can happen.
absolutely.
But that's
Yeah.
also part of why I actually like. Obviously, to the players, it's crazy how long the World League took, and how much focus that takes. But the one
Oh
good
yeah,
part about it is that you actually like have a pretty long span over which you can prove yourself and get results.
yeah.
And
That is true. Yeah.
so you have at least that as sort of as an opportunity, and you can also just
Mhm.
show people how good you are over a longer span of time, which I think potentially
Yeah, the consistency is valuable for sure.
increases the likelihood of getting like invited to future events as well, like if you do well in things like that. Whereas for stuff like the open majors or whatever, it's like essentially you got one game, and you, I guess, if you lose, you're out, and then it all starts from zero again, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. It's consistency is valuable. I mean,
Yeah,
there are more opportunities for them to implement such things, but they don't really.
yeah,
I don't really think that it's on their radar right now. Like the fact that they're removing group stages and making everything single
yeah,
even and
that's just
decreasing the amount of people playing in the main event, like after the success we had last year, is just
that's
not something
annoying.
I will ever
Yeah,
understand. But it is what it is. Once
I
again,
definitely like decreasing the amount of players. It's annoying, but it's like, all right, sure, you want to reduce sort of like maybe the amount of money you have to spend on getting them all to come to the event and hotel costs and everything, fine. But like once the players are already there, there's like no reason not to have like a group stage or something like that, and like have players at least play a little bit more so that
yeah,
they don't come like, I don't know, like make this huge trip for like one best of five or whatever, and then they just, I don't know, they're done again.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean,
also, yeah,
that's the end.
yeah, that is true. I also feel like they could potentially have a few more sort of like online tournaments, sort of
Yeah,
like essentially how the open major and the wild card happened just now, because I feel like for them that is not that big of a monetary investment as compared to hosting an actual LAN event. And I feel like that would be a decent opportunity to sort of have players play a little bit more on the public stage, because of course, like, a lot of tournaments actually happen that are community hosted all the time, but I still think it's different to have sort of official tournaments that actually get streamed on the GeoGuessr Twitch channel. I guess they could even
yes,
do it like they did with
absolutely.
the La Ligue final, where you don't even like get involved yourself, but you just have like reputable people that you trust have events hosted on the official channel
Yeah.
and increase sort
That
of
is
like,
that
yeah.
is something that is really important, and I can say that hopefully we will have some things like that coming
Yeah,
soon.
that sounds
I've
good.
heard about it, so yeah, we'll see. We'll
All
see.
right, well, I will end the video here. I don't know if you're fine with all of that yapping being on video. I thought it was quite
Yeah,
an interesting
I don't.
discussion.
Yeah, of course, I don't mind.
Okay, I'll leave that on then. And thank everyone for
Yeah.
watching, and hope that the people enjoyed. And yeah, until next time, you can still stay in the call. I'm just saying that. Just
Yes, I
saying
know.
goodbye to everyone. Okay, good. Until next time, bye bye.